And the intro's playing.
I suppose if I'm honest, I'm a little depressed by the fact that acknowledging that everyone has the right to be who they want to be and live their life how they want to live it, as long as they're not hurting anyone else, should merit any kind of special award or special mention, because it's common sense, isn't it? Whilst we do live in this world, I am honoured to receive this. I'm thrilled to be here and to be a part of this night. Pride is very important in our house. It's a family affair. We have skin in the game. So this event tonight thrills me. It gives me hope. It gives me fire. It gives me energy and deep joy. And even if I feel I don't really deserve this, I'm very pleased and very proud to be receiving it. Thank you all so much.
There was that rumor that you had a male appendage, that you were a hermaphrodite.
Maybe I do.
But it's interesting.
Will it be so terrible?
But it's interesting, a lot of artists would immediately put out some sort of a statement saying this is absolutely not true.
Why the hell am I going to waste my time and give a press release about whether or not I have a penis? My fans don't care, and neither do I.
Do you have the diamond in your mouth now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Someone's found proud your masculinity is showing. Do you need a tissue to wipe away your dated, ignorant beliefs? We'll go back to being men when you go back to being a decent human being. Boo.
Yeah, here we go. We are live. Hello, hello. We are back. The Transpositions is back. We took a week off, but we've returned. We've got
We've regenerated.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say a great show. We are sort of in mourning about the loss of our home country, as the case may be. So.
Yeah.
A lot of things have hinged on that. Me and Steph are both moving right now, so we're both recently.
Well,
yeah.
You're a little bit more settled than I am. I'm in such incredibly total flux that I literally don't know where I'm going to be in. What's today? The 14th? I don't know where I'm going to be in 15 days. I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea what I'm going to be doing for work. I don't have any idea what I'm going to be doing for lodging, if any. I'm kind of fucked right now. So it's like, yeah, I'm in flux. And the orange assholes is going to be the next person.
No.
And so it's like, where are my options? Like, in Mexico or Canada? I'm closer to Canada right now than I am to Mexico. But I have friends, close to the border. Bree.
Yeah, I'm really close to the border now in my new location here. I'll be here for at least the next few months. So get used to seeing this background and when you see my lovely face. And yeah, that's my plan right now, to get myself established down here and figure out a game plan for what I'm going to do moving forward. I don't know beyond January 21st what I'm going to do, because there's been some announcements about things that are going to happen that are going to affect me directly.
Mm-hmm. What are those things, Bree?
What are those things? Well, I found a nice little tweet to build this narrative on about. So we don't actually have to listen to what the orange asshole actually said. We can just read it. We'll have to actually listen to his stupid voice. Let's see. Share.
God knows we don't want to have. We do not want to hear the dulcet tones of the orange asshole on this fucking channel, do we?
Yeah.
I don't know if they call him dulcet, but yeah.
Dang
Tell
it!
us that guy.
I forgot when I do the production from this end, it does that. It says that screen sharing thing on the screen. So. Yeah. So let me shoot the link over. Which one of you want to present? Either y'all set up to share your screen. I can drop the link in the side chat here.
What are we doing?
I just need someone to share this, because if I share it, it's going to do that.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. We can probably figure this bullshit out. Remember, you want it? You want me to be on it? I don't know.
If you can grab it, that would be preferable, because I don't have any idea how the software works.
Private. Nothing to see here.
Hold on, I haven't dropped it yet. Give me just a second.
Yeah, right.
Private.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you go.
Yada.
Yada, yada, yada. Welcome to the Transpositions. This is how we do.
Yeah, we fuck it up. We mix. We are in mixolydian mode, okay?
We need to get some Zoomers on the team.
A few bars, we'll fake it.
We're made up of boomers and Gen Xers and millennials, so we need some zennials.
Am I a boomer? I think I am a boomer.
You're a boomer, and I think Carly's Gen X.
I'm a boomer. Holy shit! I ought to just, What are we doing?
Did you click on?
You want me to share this post from Caitlin Rugg?
Who? Who's Caitlin Rugg?
I don't know.
Colin
It's
Rugg.
like,
Yeah. So it's just the quotes of what
Colin Rugg.
it's the quotes of what Trump said without us actually having to listen to his voice.
Okay.
They just put it in,
All
in
right.
print.
Yeah. Look, I'll do it. I mean, I'm a little bit hesitant, but I think I may be appalled. But let me just share. I'll just share screen. Yeah.
Da, da, da.
Colin Rugg on X. Donald Trump.
Who's only slightly less of a douchebag
Donald
than
Trump's
the orange
plan
apple.
to stop the chemical, physical, and etc. Good God, Donald.
Stephanie.
That's
Bless
that's
your
Trump's
soul.
words.
Yeah. So, and he actually says that if you scroll down, you can see that you can actually listen to it. But we're not going to listen to it because I hate the man's voice. But his first,
You want me to?
And we
Yeah,
have
let's-
let
already
me know if
covered
you
that.
need me to scroll down.
yeah, we'll scroll down as we go through the bullet points here.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
bullet point 1 is revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care.
So-called. Who would call the bodily mutilation of human beings?
Who shall call it thusly? But nothing about
Who would call
intersex
that except for
surgeries.
really sick people?
Like these damn doctors, I guess, is the problem here, right?
Yeah, doctors and
People
and
trying to
actually
save
the
lives
people
and
that
shit.
kind of need the help.
Number 2, sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any
No.
age.
That's S*X.
Yeah.
Trust me, honey. I'm a star.
Well, this is for any age. There goes all of our healthcare. Yeah.
All of it.
Yep.
I
There you
also
go.
find it almost funny that, Trump said sex and gender. That was his actual word. So this dude is actually changing the quote because he's happy to send us all to death camps, but he won't type SEX on Elon's platform.
Yeah.
No, because Elon and Donald share something in common. It's probably not well known, but I think that they both have tiny hands.
They probably do.
Yeah, just saying. Well, look, the guy brought a sink in, so
Into
he's
Twitter
obviously
headquarters,
concerned
yeah.
obviously concerned with hygiene. So, when he bought Twitter, he brought that sink.
Yeah. And good old Elon, he has a vested interest like Trump in trying to eradicate transgenderism from public life because Vivian dunks on him regularly because Vivian's a boss.
Because he has trans people in his family, and there's nothing that says Christian values more and family values more than literally tossing your children out the door. Oh no, sorry. Maybe I'm going overboard.
Well, let's see if number 3 goes overboard. Ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. That's not happening, Donald.
Well, actually, I kind of approve on this one because, like we mentioned a couple points ago, there's still involuntary circumcision for infants. There's still involuntary intersex surgeries on infants. Those should be prohibited, yes.
Right. Just to try to fix the norms.
Look, I have a quibble here. I believe that personally, this is a personal opinion. I think that as a general principle, government should stay out of medical decisions entirely.
Yeah.
Like entirely.
Most medical institutions are self-regulating. You don't need to stick your government nose in there.
You know, and so any legislation that's prohibiting child sexual mutilation is, you know, it's like, what is that mutilation? I mean, you when you drill down, you're talking about a medical procedure. And so, yes, you can pass a law, but, you know, as who was it in Henry V? But the law is an ass. The law is not ever going to cover what is mutilation, and so I'm queasy about things. I agree with you, Amber, that circumcision is in fact mutilation and doesn't need to happen, and it's kind of gross. But I don't want to see the government making medical decisions for anybody, whether it's trans people or women or people can get pregnant or you know, anyone. It's just, no. This is not the province of governance. That's not their job. The job is, you know, that stuff belongs between a family person, a doctor, a hospital. I mean, it's like all those people can make their own decisions without the interference of Matt Gaetz or Ted Cruz or Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or I don't need a fucking act of Congress to decide about my medical health care. Personal medical health care.
Yeah, well, number 4 is going to directly affect healthcare. Declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the programs immediately. Here's the thing, though. You're going to have to use the medical standards of what mutilation or chemical and physical mutilation means, and gender affirming care isn't going to meet that criteria. But hopefully, circumcision does.
I'd like to know what gender straw men. Was it a straw man or a straw woman? I'm really not sure. Maybe it was a straw something.
Straw NB. There we go.
Principles 3 and 4 are straw men because it doesn't happen. Right. It's bullshit.
Because who's going to set the standard for mutilation? The medical boards that already set the standards for what there's being. The way these surgeries are being performed. No doctor is going to say, yes, this surgery is a form of mutilation. It's a red herring. They're tricking the people into, it's a nothing burger, really. They're tricking people into thinking that it's something they're going to be able to do, but they don't consider genital surgeries on intersex people mutilation. Then they don't consider. Then there's nothing that's mutilation, and they're not going to consider it mutilation.
Yeah. You know, to Amber's earlier point, it's like, well, from the point of view of the individual who, let's take a person with a difference of sexual development at an early age. From the point of view of that person who is in infancy, do they have fucking volition in making these decisions? Who's making the decision? You want the fucking Congress to do it? You want the state legislature to do it? What the hell? This is stupid. All right.
What are we on? We got number five.
Number 5.
Support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue doctors who have unforgivably performed these procedures on minor children.
It already exists. That already exists.
Right. And the reason you don't hear much about it is because it doesn't really...
Yeah, you can sue. Sure, you can. In fact, there have been lawsuits filed, both in the United States and in Great Britain. But there have been lawsuits filed. It's like, you let me do this, even though I fucking signed all the papers. And
right. Is this your signature right here?
Support the creation of a private right of action for victims to sue. It already exists. Again,
a medical malpractice suit.
Straw. I don't know where these. What are you talking about, people? This is straw manning, and this is straw entity. The entire.
Number 6 is I think number 6 might be my favorite on this list of ridiculous things that he cannot do. He's the president of the United States does not have the authority to regulate. So
Big Pharma.
The DOJ will investigate Big Pharma and big hospital networks to determine whether they have deliberately covered up horrific long-term side effects of sex transition in order to get rich at the expense of vulnerable patients.
Yeah, it's for sure. There are tons of people who are getting rich.
I got one question for
0.2% of the fucking population.
I got one question about this. You decided to throw some regulations on the pharmaceutical free market. You don't say. I might have some suggestions before looking into the most inexpensive treatment plans, hormonal treatment plans on the fucking market, and looking into some of these other top earning medications and medical treatments that are gouging the people at a 700% profit to administer in the U.S. And we do pay more here for our drugs.
Do you have erectile dysfunction? Well.
There's your gender affirming care.
With no invasive doctor's interviews, we can have a certain product ship to your door confidentially. It's like, okay, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
fuck you.
Yeah,
fuck these people. They're just fucking assholes.
Donald Trump, you do not have any control over pharmaceutical industries. The biggest pharmaceutical industries that in the world are in the there's Novo Nordisk, that's in Norway, and yeah, I think that's one of the
and Switzerland.
Mm-hmm. You don't. It's not. These aren't American companies that you have that you can regulate or investigate. You don't have access to their. You don't have any rights to access their research documents, Donald Trump, and you wouldn't understand them if you did. But he wants to have the Department of Justice investigate it. They're not under the Department of Justice. These medical organizations are self-regulating outside of the United States government. And that's good. We need that to be the thing that happens. Our healthcare should be the the efficacy of our healthcare should be handled not by people who want to see how much we'll pay for it to die. Let's let independent industries.
I gotta say so. I gotta say something. When we
Go
were
ahead.
talking last night, when we were talking last night, Bree was like, well, we should probably go on, and it's like maybe half an hour. It's like, geez, I'm sorry we were away and all of this, but we're gonna turn into another fucking marathon, aren't we?
Well, I do have some short Ember stuff, and then Carly sent me a sports thing, but we don't have to stick around. I'm just gonna close out on the sports thing. Though when the open panel ends here, we're gonna be done. But let's get through this freaking list.
All right.
Come on. I know, sweetie. Let's see. What was the next one? Investigate when Big Pharma or others have illegally marketed hormones and puberty blockers, which are in no way licensed or approved for this use. For what use, Don? You don't even know what you're talking about.
What the fuck? Of course they're licensed. Of course they're. What are you talking about?
And inform state and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggest to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences. I don't think that's ever happened anyway. I don't think anybody teacher says you're trapped in the wrong body. This isn't a Goosebumps. This isn't Freaky Friday.
Yeah, that. I think that the curiosity of cis people as to why trans people are trans, and the difficulty, I think we have a difficulty in language in a lot of ways. I think that the trope of trapped in the wrong body was kind of came from our side.
As a metaphor, though.
As a metaphor, as a way to explain, but it's not at all accurate. It's just.
It's more. I wish my body had developed differently.
And it worked. It was enough for. There are many ways of describing describing being trans, and that's one of them. But the people who are hostile to us have seized upon that one.
Now
and used it as a cudgel against anybody who actually says it, and as a, well, that's just absurd.
That's how they're like, oh, it's a religious belief.
What are you talking about? So.
No. I think number 9 is something that's been done in the U.S. since the 1950s. Trump is not innovating, promoting positive education about nuclear family, the role of the mother and father, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique. Yeah, they've been saying, hey, yeah, women belong in the kitchen and men belong in the workforce since forever. So
yes, barefoot and pregnant and chained to the stove.
Yeah. All right, then we got ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they're assigned at birth. So,
which are not genders.
Male and female aren't genders,
no.
Donald. Those are sexes.
Well, they missed a word. Damn them. That this was literally proposed in 2018. That gender is immutable and assigned at birth, and assigned at birth, immutable. They missed that word. And so, actually, that it was sex and gender is that.
You know,
They tried to do that and it didn't work. But they promised to do. They will do this. It literally is in Project 2025. They're going to do that thing again, as they're going to try to enter that into the Federal Register, and it's gonna happen.
well, from a certain point of view, that's already the case. Because while you do have the option on your passport application and probably other government forms to select an X gender marker for neither male or female, the only genders recognized by the federal government are male and female, and they are typically assigned at birth. So that's already the case, Donald, you sloppy bitch.
Well, yes and no. It's rather.
Oh, I know what he means, but that's what he said.
Well, and
What they mean to do, and for all of you folks out there, like folks like myself, I've got a passport. I'm going to renew it.
And anybody who
Like-
wants a passport, there's a how-to guide coming up a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, you know, I did this. The last document I changed was my passport, and I changed it in August of 2016. So now it's going to expire in 2026. So I better fucking renew it right the fuck now.
Yeah. It'll get brought up later, but there's a major staffing change coming on January 20th. And the State Department, which issues the passports, may not be functional on January 21st. It probably
No,
won't
it may
break down
not.
entirely the first day, but shit's going to get rough real quick. So if you need anything from the State Department, a new passport, a renewal, anything else, you should probably do it now.
Mm-hmm.
and finally,
7 days.
number 11, protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new in an identity without the parent's consent.
Is that a right of parents? Protect the right?
Oh yeah, you know, be sure that parents get to dictate how their children view the world.
This
That's
doesn't.
always worked so well.
This doesn't actually work. You can't. And what the government talk about government overreach, right?
Be sure
We're
that parents stamp out carbon copies of themselves in their children and don't recognize that their children have an agency for themselves. Make sure that that's the case, because that way we can have the best model.
The best model.
Because really all we really want is for nothing to ever change.
Once we've rolled back to 1953.
And almost forgot I wanted to say this. We're going to have, I believe Jenny Morgan was supposed to be on last week, but due to the circumstances, we didn't have last week's show. So we should have Jenny Morgan on as one of our guest host here in the upcoming week, either next week or perhaps the week after, depending on how things go.
I'm hoping so.
But
That'd be great.
We've got some other guest hosts lined up too for the show. People are gonna have some insight I've reached out to in different sections of the internet with a different audience than what we have here. Just trying to reach out and let everybody know that we're here. So networking's been the main thing that's been on my mind since we lost, I guess. I'm trying to do the Rainbow Underground Railroad sort of assistance stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And we're making progress, but hooking together a community is absolutely vital to that kind of thing, and not just for escape, but for mutual support, for shared resources, for shared connections. We're setting up near where I live. It's over 1,200 members in like 2 days, and there's lawyers giving legal document advice to people who need it. There's medical professionals who are working with other people who like need a new resource to get their prescriptions, and it's wonderful to see. And that would be a great resource even without the nonsense. So get together with your local community. There's huge advantages, and we're going to need it for safety.
yeah,
We are.
And Amber's got some great little segments coming up here, just about a few things that are going to be important in the next few months. So I'm glad to drop into that. This is where we end the show for us being live right now. Everything else from here forward is going to be pre-recorded. We got a couple of Ember segments, and then we got TransPositions Sports with Carly, and that'll be where the show ends. I may stick with this format for a while and see how it goes, and that way we don't have to have everybody stick around live. I can just produce from the backstage here, and and we can still interact in the live chat with you all while watching that stuff. So Ember, was there anything you wanted to include before we?
There's so much going on. Just like last time with the orange asshole, the fire hose of falsehoods are just going everywhere, and we're already seeing effects. We're already seeing the social contract unraveling in my area, which again, very blue state, but a red hat area of that state.
Right.
We're seeing attacks. I'm seeing increased harassment at work and not, and we're only not even 10 days from the election. So shit's probably going to get bad before January 20th. Keep your eyes peeled and take care of each other.
Keep your friends close.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen to I'll be honest, I'm more focused on what's going on right around me physically. I got a lot of challenges going on right now. But when someone is calling out for help, if you can, help them. Especially if they're right nearby. Especially. People are hurting right now, and hugs are important. Not just virtual ones, but real ones. If you know people in the community nearby you, reach out. Treat each other well. As Bree likes to say, be kind. Because kindness is going to be in short supply in short order. In fact, cruelty is going to be the theme of governance come the 25th of January. Count on it. Count on it.
We're all
the
scared.
books will start burning in May.
I'm scared.
We've seen this film before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The decisions I've made recently were directly in response, to some of the stuff that's happening. So I'm scared. If you're scared, I'm right there with you. So don't be afraid to voice that to your friends. Let people know how you're feeling. People know what you're looking for, what you need, because we're all needing a little something here and there. All right, let's go into some. We'll go into some good news. Sound good?
Nice.
Or is it good news? I guess it's not good news. There's no good news today. It's just.
That's right. There's literally only 2 pieces of good news. I didn't do a segment. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons. My computer crashed. I lost all my software and assets and shit. So I literally could not produce the segment even if I had time. But also there is no good news. There's Sarah McBride, U.S. Congress, first trans person, hooray! And a Pennsylvania school district sunsetted in an anti-trans sports policy. That's I know it's more the sports people kind of thing, but it's what can you do?
Cool.
They got rid of it for 2 reasons. The first is there are no transgender girls in the district, so it's pointless. And the second is all the people going concerns about having trans girls on the girls' teams. They do have a cis girl playing on the boys' football team, and they have several co-ed sports teams. So the girls are already playing with actual boys, and there's no problems.
Right. All right. Yeah. Well,
it's bullshit. The whole thing is bullshit. Oh, it's like, jeez, Carl, just like, this is bullshit. People, get a grip.
But at least it's a lighter story to it doesn't balance things, but it adds a little bit of something to this week. So there's that.
That's cool.
Well, all right. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into these, okay? So we will see you all in the side chat.
Hello, folks. Today we're going to start a new series, How to Escape the Fascist States of America. First thing first, we're going to need a passport. Now, that's not the only way, but it is the easiest way because it helps when other countries will let you in. And documentation makes that a whole hell of a lot easier. It's also better to do this sooner rather than later. We have 67 days until the U.S. State Department gets a catastrophic staffing change. Now, getting a passport sounds intimidating, but it's not as big a deal as you might think. I did this last weekend, and we'll go step by step through the process. First, you're going to need documents. You're going to need a birth certificate to confirm your citizenship and a state or government ID to verify your information. If the names on those do not match, such as if you got married or if you had a court order to change your name, bring the document that shows that name change along with. If you got married, the marriage certificate will do. If you got a court-ordered name change, bring the court order. As long as there's something to link the birth certificate with the state ID, you should be fine. Next, you need to go to the State Department website. There are other ways to get this form, but not any as fast or as easy. The easiest way is to do a search for Form DS11, and that'll get you to the page you want the fastest. I've already pulled it up for our convenience. This is the page that you find the form on, and you can fill it out right online and then print it off. If for some reason your computer can't do that, you can print out the form and then fill it in by hand. However you do it, do not sign it. That's something that needs to be done when you're in front of the person you turned it into. So make sure to cover that base. Now there's a few different options. The DS82 is here too. That's for renewing applications, data correction and name changes and certain other niche passports. There's a bunch of other forms for other things, including lost or stolen passports. But if you're applying for the first time, you want the DS11. And so you click on that little button right there. Privacy statement, of course. Again, I just did this last weekend, so read it, but we don't have to do that right now. Next, to fill out your application online. If you have an old passport, well, you don't need to do this because you can just renew the old one. But what you want to do, you don't want to report a lost or stolen. You can check on the status. That's a neat thing I may look into later. But we want the fill out and print option. So we're going to hit that. It gives you the instructions. And then, obviously, I'm not going to fill this out right here, but you can go section by section. It's the standard stuff: name, date of birth, city of birth, your social security number, all these various things. You can opt to change your gender marker. Relevant thing, even if your state ID has one gender marker, you can check this box and put a different gender marker on your passport. So at least you'll have one form of ID with your correct gender marker on it. And since this is federal, if you happen to live in a state where they don't allow changes to gender markers, this is one way to get a piece of ID that is federally recognized with the correct gender on it. That's something to keep in your back pocket, even if you're not fleeing the United States. So there's that. And you're going to go through section by section. Obviously, we can't go on unless I fill stuff in. You're going to need stuff. You're going to need information, much of which will be on your birth certificate, such as your parents' birth name, where they were born. If you have a spouse, you're going to need their information. Even if it's a former spouse, you need to be able to enter their social security number. But most of the information is going to be stuff either you should have memorized or is right there on your birth certificate. So keep all that available, but it should be just fill in the information and move on. There shouldn't be any major roadblocks here. Once you've got the whole thing done, again, print it out, all of it. The first 4 pages are instructions. You don't need those, but you need to show the clerk that you have the whole thing. So just print the whole thing. It'll be fine. Now you've got to turn it in. This is super easy because most post offices will take these. And there are other places to do it too. If you happen to live near certain kinds of federal buildings, that's great. But there's a post office nearby virtually every town, and most of them will take these. Most of those will also do photos, which is another thing you need. And that's really handy because you need pictures that meet very specific requirements. The post office usually you should check and make sure your postal office can do this, but most of them can for about $15, which is a fraction of what a professional photographer would charge. And you do not want an amateur. A mess up on the specs by 1 millimeter will get the whole application rejected. So just keep it easy. Have the post office do it for that tiny little fee. You don't always have to make an appointment. Several allow walk-ins, but if you can make an appointment, that may be best because you're guaranteeing you're there when they're able to take applications, when they're able to do photos, and you have a time slot reserved so nobody else can. You are guaranteed a spot. So I highly recommend that, but you don't necessarily have to. I'm pulling up the page here. This is the page on USPS. Schedule an appointment, choose your service, new passport with photos. If you're getting photos, pick that one. They'll also just do photos for you if you want, in case you're submitting your application somewhere else, or you submit it and forget to send in photos. And then you can do the renewal too. So if you want to do, say, passport with photos, you tell them how many adults. If it's just you, then 1. If there's children, you can do children, same form. The fee is slightly lower, but you can do it all at once in a single appointment if you really want to. And then you can search by location or by the date you're available, put in your city, your radius, and if you do want photos, make sure you've checked the box saying passport photo locations, because not every post office does. Many do, but not all of them. If you don't need photos for whatever reason, then you can just do new passport only, and then you don't need to have the box checked. And then you do your search. It'll bring up options. You select the location, you select your time, and then you need to give them a way to verify your appointment. So you'll fill in some information. They can either text you or email you and send in the code, punch in the confirmation, boom, your appointment. I'm knocking things over, folks. Of course I am. It's what we do here. Your appointment will be confirmed and you're all good to go. So yeah, that's it. Once you are there, they'll check all your forms. You should be aware, they will take your real birth certificate. They don't just make a photocopy. They need the real thing to send into state. It'll get mailed back, but it will be gone for a few weeks. So Be prepared. If there's something else you need your birth certificate for, maybe do that first, because it will be away for a few weeks, or get a spare copy from your state if you can. Your ID, however, they will just photocopy. They need front and back, but they'll just make a photocopy and you get to keep your ID, which is good because for many of us, that's a driver's license, and you kind of need your driver's license to do the driving thing. If you do need photos, they'll do that with you. Make sure you're wearing a solid color. That isn't strictly necessary, but it reduces the odds of problems with your pics. Also, no hats, much to my chagrin. Once everything is ready, they'll have you sign your papers. There are 3 different costs: the fee to accept your paperwork, the fee for the photos. Both of those go to the post office. They can take cash or debit card. The processing fee goes to the State Department. Even though it's 2024, they require a personal check or a money order. Yes, the most technologically advanced government on earth, and they still can't process a debit card. The good news is the postal office also can issue you a money order for the State Department fee, and you can use your debit card or cash to pay for that as well. Altogether, it costs $195 for adults, $150 for kids, and you can speed up the processing time and shipping time for additional costs if you're getting too close to January 20th for comfort. As of last Saturday, the turnaround time was 4 to 6 weeks, or 42 days, though with the demand increasing fast, it's better to get in sooner rather than later. If you have to wait until near January 20th, don't give up. It's unlikely the State Department will stop functioning entirely on day 1. How fast everything will fall apart is anyone's guess, so avoiding problems by doing it early is strongly recommended, but doing it late is still better than not doing it. Make sure you're subscribed, because we're going to discuss more steps to prepare for departure as the countdown to D-Day continues. Thank you for watching. As you've probably heard, the number of calls to crisis lines has spiked since the election. I'm involved in a number of trans and GSM support groups, and the sheer quantity of people in a bad place is growing even faster. Worse, few people have any idea how to deal with a person on the verge of self-deletion, and it's all too easy to say something to someone in such a fragile state that makes it worse. After handling several such situations myself and seeing others try to be helpful but actually do great harm by being patronizing, condescending, or too caught up in their own drama to see what they were doing, it dawned on me I didn't actually know what the best practices are for handling situations like this. So I asked. A range of therapists, counselors, and other crisis workers gave me similar responses. The best thing to do is get the person in touch with a professional. First, get the person away from the chattering voices if possible. The noise can be overwhelming, and it is more likely to steer them wrong than not. Second, explain as compassionately as you can that you don't have all the answers nor the tools to help them, but the people trained for this do. Keep these phone numbers handy. Save them to your phone, carry a note in your pocket, whatever, but keep them with you. The Trans Lifeline in the USA is 877-565-8660. The Trevor Project, which handles LGBT Lifeline calls, is 866-488-7386. And if you can't remember anything else, the general nationwide suicide lifeline is 988. Ask them to call. Tell them you care. Tell them you want them to be around tomorrow. And please, please call. From there, it's up to your judgment. If you believe they will call, give them the support or the space to do so, whichever they need. If you believe they're too far off and are committed to self-harm, call 911 yourself. If you aren't sure, don't be shy about it. Don't be sheepish. Call 911. I promise you, it's better to have a friend who is mad at you for getting them put into a psych ward for 3 days than to have lost a friend because you hesitated to act. You'll never forgive yourself. I need you to have enough compassion to be brave. Stand up to the chattering nitwits to make sure the person gets real help. And stand up to them too if it comes down to it. Do whatever it takes. The only thing that matters in those critical moments is making sure that human being sees tomorrow. Thank you for watching.
This is Transposition Sports. I'm Carly Chardonnay-Webb. Right at the top, Dutch darts pro Noah Lynn van Leuven, set to become the first transgender woman to compete in the PDC Pro Dart World Championships next month in London. This past weekend, she took part in an important tune-up event, the Grand Slam of Darts, a 32-person tournament built from the top winners and earners of 2024. Now, she got thrown in the deep end of this one. She was in the group of death that featured 2 former world champions and a hopeful who's been knocking on the door of greatness in the last few years. For Van Leuven, who's been lauded and maligned in equal measure since making her pro debut last year, she had her work cut out for her. Let's go to the videotape. Saturday, first match, first round, pool play, met with countryman Michael van Gerwen. Now, the world's #2 ranked player, he's a 3-time world champion, and she's being booed as she entered the match, and that didn't help. Van Gerwen never really challenged, won in a 5-legs nil rout. On Sunday, Van Leuven against Ryan Joyce of England, ranked 35th in the world, eyeing this tournament to make the breakthrough, but early, Van Leuven broke through. 2-legs nil advantage. She's playing well, but then Joyce got hot, fought back to tie the match, and then powered on to win 5-legs-3. That set up a final match with 2-time world champ Scotland's Gary Anderson, and Anderson closed out an unbeaten pool round with a 5-2 win. Van Leuven was ousted, but learned a lot with the World Championships coming up a month away. Now, Van Leuven in 2024 has been the subject of some controversy. Coming up from the World Darts Federation Women's Series, she took a try at the PDC's Q School late last year. She ended up getting a berth in the PDC Challenger Series, made her debut this March in Germany, won the tournament. 2 weeks after that win, 2 members of the Dutch national dart team resigned their places in protest of Van Leuven being on the team, but the Dutch Darts Federation backed Van Leuven, saying she's met all the requirements to compete, end of story. Now, she's been the target of boycotts, player withdrawals, mainly from players based in the UK, which prompted her to say she wouldn't participate in WDF competitions in the UK. Her goal for this coming year, getting a PDC Tour card. And she's also backed by the Non-Gender Pro Tour CEO, who told Sky Sports that the rules mandate that they support her. Here's Matt Porter.
We took some ideas from policy that other sports bodies, the IOC and other governing bodies had put in place, and ultimately we came up with a policy that we believe to be fair. We respect the fact that not everybody agrees with that, and we accept that it's not a unanimously accepted position. However, it's a position that we've adopted and that we believe is fair. Noah Lynn's been playing, and you know, others have been playing under that rule for a number of years now. Noah Lynn started to achieve more success in recent years, hence the opposition to her has become more vocal, which is, you know, the way of the world, and again, as I say, something we respect. But ultimately, we have a policy in place, and it's one that we're comfortable with.
Now, on her own journey, Van Leuven on her threads Wednesday said, quote, "That's a wrap on the Grand Slam of Darts for me. I'm leaving Wolverhampton with some incredible experiences and valuable lessons. I played some fantastic darts, and I've got a few areas to work on to keep improving." Stateside, the long, strange trip of the San Jose State volleyball forfeit crisis had a striking revelation this week from one of the teams who forfeited SJSU. A news media outlet in Wyoming reports that Wyoming volleyball's forfeit may have been decided under political pressure from state elected officials and not from the school's athletic department or the team. Both Wyophile, who initially reported the story, and the San Francisco Chronicle have sourced documents and emails that show that the team voted on playing SJSU prior to their scheduled match in Laramie October 5th. The vote, taken September 30th, was a tie vote, 9-4, 9 against, 1 abstaining. And however, the next day it was announced that the school was going to forfeit the game. Documents and email communications showed constant pressure from Republican politicians in the state, backed by outside pressure groups that compelled the school, although Wyoming's athletic director, Tom Burton, responded according to multiple news reports, quote, I do think it's important to note that we have played against this athlete the past 2 seasons and our student athletes felt safe in previous matches. She's not the best or most dominant hitter on the Spartans team. Having said that, does it make it okay? We have made our position known to the Mountain West Conference and San Jose State that we think this is inappropriate, but she meets all NCAA standards for competition and is eligible. And our student athletes are not in favor of forfeiting 2 matches. Looking at the Mountain West standings, Colorado State has clinched the top seed. 7-game win streak, no signs of slowing down. Behind them, San Jose State is number 2. They've lost their last 2 matches. They still have Colorado State and Fresno State to come before the tournament. In addition, they have the drama, which includes an assistant coach who was suspended due to remarks made on the alleged trans student athlete to outkick, and team captain Brooke Schlusser, who's on the floor being a part of the team and being a part of the Riley Gaines anti-trans lawsuit against the NCAA off the floor. San Jose State or Fresno State are still in play for the bye in the first round if FJSU falters. Now, Utah State is 5th, but they have a tough road ahead with Boise State in 6th. Wyoming stands in 7th. 3 matches left, they're 6-9, but they have a chance to sneak into that 6th spot if they run the table because they have a tiebreaker on a number of teams, including gaining one on Utah State if they beat Utah State November 25th. For Utah State, Boise State, or Wyoming, there's the possibility of meeting San Jose State in either the opening round or the Mountain West semifinal. Either way, they're going to have a serious decision to make. We have more Transposition Sports coming up, but first, a message from the Angry Gay Grandpa. Get the Kleenex out now.
So maybe I'll start a little bit softer. This little light of mine.
Dad?
Before you say anything, I just want to apologize for what I said this morning. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If you want to change your name, if you want to wear a dress.
It's a skirt, Dad.
Skirt? I don't know the kind of support you need, but let's get you some for all this transgender stuff.
Wait. Are you serious? Dad, what is this?
Oh, this is me supporting you. This is me saying I love you. This is me not losing you.
I love you, Dad.
Love you. Holly.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Welcome back to Transposition Sports. I'm Kirby the Cat, live from Kirby's Kitty Bib.
That's my camera bag, Kirby.
So, it's my kitty bed, and I want to talk about a certain guy named Seth Moulton. Clumps in the litter box, Democrat from Massachusetts, representative. I heard what you said. You said what you said. Roll the tape.
What should be the line that we draw? My kids play co-ed sports. Co-ed sports are a thing for kids, and they have been for generations. There's no problem there. But people do have an issue when you get to like the college level, for example, of trans women competing against women.
And most importantly for Democrats right now, we get to a point where we have views that are more in touch with the majority of Americans, which means we can start winning elections again. I raised the trans issue as just one example of an issue where Democrats are out of touch.
Can you blame my house cat for being a little angry at Seth Moulton? Representative Moulton, I wonder, given what you just said, how awkward it's going to be for you when you're walking through Capitol Hill and you run into this person.
Let's be clear. The party that was focused on culture wars, the party that was focused on trans people, was the Republican Party. It was Donald Trump. It was the $100 million, $200 million that they spent on television ads. And so I think what we have to all recognize here is that when a politician tries to take an issue that impacts a handful of people in a handful of states and turn it into the most important issue in an election, everyone has to ask why. And the answer to that question is that Donald Trump was trying to divide and distract from the fact that he has absolutely no policy solutions for the issues that are actually keeping voters up at night, the issues that I was hearing about on the campaign trail.
It's good to see Delaware's representative-elect Sarah McBride in the game. Sarah, hope you bring your elbow pads. You're going to need them. You, along with more than 20 trans legislators who are in our state houses, people like Brenda Tutone in Colorado and Zoe Zephyr in Montana. It's good to see you all, and I hope you stir up a lot of good trouble, because we're going to need it. How will the new political paradigm affect us? We don't know, but we do know that we're afraid of what the answer could be, especially those of us who hit the ball fields, the tracks, clip in the pedals, and ride hard. Those of us in sports. Because the paradigm will change sports. You can bet that a Trump administration is going to give a little bit of boost to that petty political lawsuit against the NCAA. We see it coming. Now's going to be the time for courage. It's going to be the time for speaking out. In our state houses, in the halls of Capitol Hill, but also in our schools, on our school boards, among our leagues, and within our governing bodies. It's going to be time for that courage, for those in those positions to speak out for inclusion, because you know inclusion's right, regardless of what may come out of Washington and what edicts may come. As I've said, it's going to be time to get in some good trouble. But in the meantime, for those of us who are hitting the fields, I encourage you all to keep playing. I certainly will, no matter what. Don't let them take the game, and don't let them take the joy. And I promise you, Transposition Sports will be right here, giving you space, telling you stories, and lifting you up and showing the highlights. For me, it's personal because it's keeping a promise and a doctrine of a mentor of mine in my own journey. I'm going to keep showing people that I'm in the world by being out in the world. And that includes getting in between the white lines. For Transposition Sports, I'm Carly Chardonnay Webb.